Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a quiet lake, the water perfectly still. No ripples, no chaos, just calm. Now think of your mind as that lake. Every worry, every fear, every distraction is like a stone thrown into the water, disturbing its peace. But what if, instead of reacting to every ripple, you simply let them fade? What if you could master your thoughts the same way nature masters stillness? That's the power of a clear mind. You may not be able to control every storm that comes your way, but you can choose whether to stand firm or be swept away. Life will always be unpredictable. People will disappoint you, plans will fall apart, and challenges will arise when you least expect them. But real strength isn't about avoiding difficulties. It's about facing them with a clear mind and an open heart. The moment you stop fighting against what you can't change and start focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your perspective, that's when you unlock true peace. Ever feel like your mind is caught in a storm of overthinking and stress? What if you could silence the noise, let go of what you can't control, and find true peace within? In this video, I'll share 7 powerful Stoic lessons to help you clear your mind, regain focus, and navigate life with calm confidence. Stay with me, because one small shift in perspective might change everything. Number 1, free yourself from the weight of expectations. As children, we embraced each moment fully, free from the burdens of the future and untouched by the weight of societal expectations. But as we grew, we were conditioned to chase the world's definitions of success: wealth, status, recognition. Slowly, we became entangled in a web of expectations, those of our parents, teachers, friends, and, perhaps most overwhelming, our own. But have you ever paused to question where these expectations come from? Do they truly reflect who you are, or are they merely invisible chains restraining your spirit? Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each rock representing an expectation placed upon you by society, family, or even yourself. The more you try to meet these expectations, the heavier the load becomes. But what if you set the backpack down? By releasing unrealistic expectations, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure and allow space for true growth, happiness, and self-acceptance. The truth is, freedom begins when we stop allowing others' expectations to dictate our lives, when we release the pressure to conform to standards that were never truly ours. Our minds grow lighter, our hearts find peace. Imagine your mind as a flowing river. If it is constantly filled with the pressures, demands, and anxieties of others, the water becomes cloudy, its flow disrupted. But when you let go of the unnecessary, your mind clears, like a still lake illuminated by the gentle glow of the moon. Ask yourself, are your aspirations genuinely your own, or merely layers of expectations you've adopted to satisfy others? There are people who spend their entire lives seeking society's approval, only to realize they have never truly lived for themselves. There are those who chase fame, only to feel empty once they attain it. There are those who follow the path laid out by their families, only to discover it was never their path to walk. Are any of these things truly worth the cost of inner peace? Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When you understand that others' expectations are beyond your control, you begin to learn the art of letting go. You don't have to exhaust yourself proving your worth. You don't have to achieve something just because it is expected of you. You only need to focus on what truly matters to you. Imagine this. You're carrying a heavy backpack stuffed with things you never chose for yourself. Each item represents an expectation, a responsibility you accepted to avoid disappointing others, a dream that isn't yours but was handed to you, a burden you shoulder out of fear of rejection. The weight slows you down, making every step exhausting. But what if you started unpacking? What if you let go of what doesn't serve you and carried only what truly matters? Your mind is no different. When you fill it with unnecessary expectations, you create chaos and leave no space for peace and freedom. So how do you declutter your mind? First, accept that you cannot please everyone. You cannot control what others think, but you can control how you respond to it. Ask yourself, does this truly matter to me? If the answer is no, let it go. Next, practice stillness. Don't let the noise of the world drown out your inner voice. If you feel pressured by someone else's expectations, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I do not live to please others. I live to find peace within myself. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Letting go of expectations is not an act of recklessness. It is an act of courage. It is the bold step toward reclaiming your mind and your freedom. When you stop worrying about things beyond your control, when you dare to live authentically, you will find the serenity you have long been searching for. Imagine a day when you no longer worry about what others think. You no longer chase after meaningless expectations. You wake up with a peaceful mind, a light heart. You move through each moment without the weight of unnecessary burdens on your shoulders. This is not some distant, unattainable dream. It is a choice, and you can make that choice right now. Number 2, let go of what disturbs your peace. Have you ever felt like you're endlessly chasing something, only to be met with stress, anxiety, and exhaustion? Maybe it's a draining job you're too afraid to leave. Perhaps it's a relationship filled with pain that you're still holding on to. Or maybe it's the unrealistic expectations you've placed on yourself. We often get swept up in pursuits that don't truly align with who we are, and in doing so, we lose our inner peace. But does it have to be this way? Pause for a moment and reflect on what you're chasing. Is it status, wealth, an idealized version of yourself? If these pursuits bring you fulfillment, continue. But if they leave you feeling empty and overwhelmed, ask yourself, do I really need this? Is it making me better? Would I feel relief if I let go? Letting go isn't failure. It's a conscious decision to protect your peace. True freedom comes from releasing what isn't meant for you. Imagine gripping a heavy backpack, carrying it everywhere you go. You've convinced yourself it's essential, fearing that setting it down would mean losing something important. But the moment you let it go, you feel an incredible lightness you never knew was possible. One of the biggest sources of insecurity is the relentless pursuit of things beyond our control. When your happiness is tied to external factors, a job, a relationship, or an image of perfection, you give those things power over your emotions. Consider those who chase fame, constantly seeking validation. No matter how much they achieve, it's never enough. They live in fear of being forgotten. But a person who embraces Stoicism doesn't fall into this trap. They understand that fame, like all external rewards, is fleeting. When you stop allowing fear and desire to dictate your actions, your mind becomes lighter than ever. Think about the most peaceful moments in your life. They don't come from major successes, but from the simplest things. A quiet morning with a warm cup of tea, a gentle breeze on a summer evening, the relief of resting after a long day. Peace isn't in the future. It's not found in luxury. It's right here, in this very moment. Understanding what makes you anxious is one thing. Letting it go is another. Stoicism doesn't just teach us how to think. It teaches us how to act. If you want to reclaim your peace, try this. Identify what's causing your anxiety. Write down your daily worries. What patterns emerge? What makes you feel out of control? Question its value. Is this truly enriching your life, or is it just weighing you down? Practice letting go. If your job drains you, ease the pressure you place on yourself. If a relationship brings more pain than joy, start creating some distance. Find peace in simplicity. Spend time alone. Embrace stillness. Read. Take walks. When you clear your mind of unnecessary worries, you'll feel lighter. Your thoughts won't be consumed by fear and insecurity. You have the power to choose what's worth holding on to and what needs to be released. Letting go of the things that disturb your peace isn't giving up. It's the first step toward truly living freely and fearlessly. But even after releasing external burdens, a deeper challenge remains. Facing your own mind. The worries, the inner critic, the restless thoughts. These can hold you captive even when the outside world is calm. How do you navigate your inner world without getting lost in the chaos? Let's explore the next step in your journey to peace. Number 3, quiet the inner critic. Inside each of us, two voices exist. One encourages you to move forward, believe in yourself, and face life with calm confidence. The other does the opposite. It whispers doubts, fears, and endless criticisms into your ear. It reminds you of your past failures, convinces you that you're not good enough, and fills your mind with worst-case scenarios. The second voice is your inner enemy. It has no physical form or strength, yet it can be the greatest obstacle between you and inner peace. Imagine standing in a flowing river, the cool water rushing past your legs. If you try to grasp the water tightly in your hands, it slips through your fingers, leaving you frustrated. But if you relax and let it flow around you, you'll feel its refreshing embrace without resistance. Expectations work the same way. Clinging too tightly creates stress, but letting go allows life to move naturally, bringing peace and clarity. The mind functions the same way. Thoughts arise, drift by, and fade. However, if you hold on to them and stir them up, peace remains out of reach. Your inner enemy doesn't stem from the outside world. It comes from how you react to it. Some days exhaustion sets in, not because of what you did, but because of what you thought. Negative thoughts spiral through your mind, drowning you in insecurity and fear. You wonder why happiness feels distant, why things aren't going as planned. But the real question is, why allow your mind to become a battleground for wars that don't exist? The key to silencing this inner enemy is learning to observe it without engaging. When a negative thought arises, don't get lost in its emotions. Instead, step back and watch it, like an audience viewing a play. You can see it, hear it, but you don't have to step onto the stage. Just as clouds drift across the sky, thoughts come and go. They only become chains when you cling to them. One simple truth we often forget is that emotions are shaped not by events, but by how we perceive them. A missed opportunity can feel like the end for one person, but a new beginning for another. Failure might seem like proof of inadequacy to some, while others see it as a valuable lesson. The event itself doesn't define us, our response does. To develop inner control, challenge every negative thought that surfaces. Is it true? Does it serve any purpose? Is it worth losing your peace over? These questions create distance between you and your thoughts, preventing them from overwhelming you. When you recognize that you are not your thoughts, they lose their power over you. Another effective way to regain control is through action. Instead of overthinking, do something productive. Write down your thoughts, take a walk, move your body, or read a book. Action is the best way to break free from anxious cycles. While you can't stop thoughts from appearing, you can choose how to respond. Sometimes the best response is none at all, simply letting them pass, like water slipping through your fingers. The mind may be complex, but it isn't uncontrollable. You can learn to coexist with it, face it, and observe it without fear. Mastering your inner enemy doesn't mean eliminating negative thoughts altogether. It means refusing to let them dictate your life. True peace isn't the absence of chaos, it's the ability to remain steady within it. So the next time your mind feels overwhelmed, don't fight it. Allow it to settle, like a lake returning to stillness after the wind dies down. Peace isn't found in controlling everything. It's discovered in learning to let go and allow life to flow. And when you do, you'll realize the tranquility you've been seeking was always there. You just hadn't allowed yourself to experience it. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to affirm your journey towards self-growth. Hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Each step you take not only strengthens you, but also spreads positivity to those who need it. Don't just absorb the words, put them into practice. Number 4, let go of the bridges to your past worries. Have you ever felt trapped by old memories, past mistakes, or painful experiences, as if invisible chains were holding you back? We often burden ourselves with endless thoughts about things we can no longer change, as if regret could somehow rewrite the past. But here's the truth. Stoic philosophy teaches us not to be prisoners of our past. Instead, it encourages us to burn the bridges, connecting us to outdated worries, freeing our minds and restoring our inner peace. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Forget everything else. Hold on to this one truth. Each of us lives only in the present, this fleeting moment." If the present is all we truly own, why allow the past to control it? The past no longer exists. It's just a memory kept alive in your mind. You alone decide whether to let it drain your energy or not. Envision yourself on a weathered bridge, spanning a vast emptiness filled with past regrets, missteps, failures, unsaid words, and lost chances. Instead of crossing to the other side, you linger, looking back as the weight of the past holds you in place. But does clinging to it help you move forward? This bridge no longer leads anywhere useful. It only takes you back to a place you can't change. It takes courage to burn that bridge, not out of anger or denial, but out of the understanding that you no longer belong there. A common mistake is believing that letting go means forgetting. It doesn't. You don't have to erase the past. You just have to stop letting it control your mind. See it as a lesson, not a life sentence. If you've made mistakes, learn from them and move forward. If you've been hurt, use that pain as fuel to make you stronger. But don't let the past hold you hostage. I once knew someone who was betrayed in a relationship. For years, he carried that pain, always doubting, always fearing that history would repeat itself. We've all been there, holding on to old wounds, afraid they'll reopen. But the truth is, the past only has power over us if we allow it. When he finally chose to see his past not as a wound but as a lesson, he was able to love again. You can do the same. Ask yourself, are you trapped in a prison of your own mind? We replay painful memories like a movie stuck on repeat. But what if you could stop pressing play? What if every time your mind drags you back to an old wound, you could recognize it and say, no, that's over. I won't relive it again? Seneca wisely said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Old memories don't hurt us because they still affect our present. They hurt because we keep reliving them in our minds. Are you torturing yourself by constantly revisiting past mistakes? If so, try this simple exercise. Write down everything that haunts you, then burn the paper. Watching those worries go up in flames can be a powerful symbol of truly letting go. The best way to break free from the past is to build a strong present. When you have meaningful goals, healthy habits, and people who uplift you, there's no time for old ghosts to resurface. Life is waiting for you ahead, not behind. Ask yourself, if today were your last day, would you waste it dwelling on past regrets? You don't need a miracle to find peace. Peace isn't something external. It's a choice you make. It comes when you stop fighting battles that no longer exist. Take a step forward. Leave the past where it belongs. Burn that bridge. On the other side lies freedom. And now, congratulations. You've made it more than halfway. The fact that you're still here means you truly want peace. Don't stop now. Every moment of this journey is another piece of the puzzle. Keep going until the end, where you'll discover a complete, practical strategy to apply Stoic wisdom to your life. Number 5, make space for silence and reflection. Modern life feels like a rushing current, pulling us along at breakneck speed. The constant noise of the world, work responsibilities, social media, endless worries, drags us further from our true selves. We forget how to pause, how to listen to our inner voice, and how to embrace the stillness that was once a natural part of human life. But have you ever realized that it's in stillness where we see most clearly? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." Your mind, when nurtured, can be the most peaceful sanctuary you return to. But if you let it drown in chaos, it becomes a stormy sea, with waves of anxiety, anger, and ambition constantly crashing over you. So how do we create space for stillness? The answer doesn't lie in escaping the world, but in learning to control what we allow into our minds. When Seneca said, "If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person," he wasn't urging us to run away. He was reminding us that peace comes from within. Imagine walking into a cluttered room with stuff strewn everywhere. In that space, you can't relax, you feel heavy, overwhelmed. But if you take the time to tidy up, to remove what's unnecessary, the room transforms into a light, open space that invites calm. Our minds are the same. Without intentional gaps of stillness, our thoughts pile up, turning our minds into storage rooms of chaos. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence, undisturbed by your phone or work? Do you remember how that felt? Or maybe you've never truly experienced it. Stillness isn't emptiness, it's fullness. Many fear silence, equating it with boredom, but that's a misconception. When you make room for stillness, you're giving your mind the space to recharge, to think deeply, and to connect authentically with yourself. When you let life's noise dictate your thoughts, you're easily swayed by outside opinions, losing sight of what you truly want. But when you pause, when you let your mind settle, you begin to hear the most honest voice inside you. And that's what truly matters. You don't need to retreat to a remote boat, forest, or cut yourself off from the world to find stillness. You simply need to create intentional moments of pause in your day. A slow morning, sitting quietly with a cup of tea, letting the morning light filter through the window before checking your phone. An unhurried afternoon walk in nature, without a destination, just feeling each step, each breath. A moment in your day where you sit down and write out the tangled thoughts in your mind, letting the words bring clarity to your inner world. A habit of disconnecting from the noise of the digital world, giving your mind the rare chance to be truly quiet. Stillness isn't a gift the world will hand you. It's something you must create for yourself. And as you practice this, you'll discover something powerful. True peace isn't found in controlling the world around you. It comes from mastering the world within. This is the essence of Stoicism. Are you ready to embrace a moment of stillness? Pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath. Allow your thoughts to settle. When you open your eyes, the world will remain the same, but your mind will be clearer, lighter, and more at peace. Number 6, let go of the need for constant approval. Imagine strolling alone on a serene beach at sunrise. Gentle waves caress the shore. The golden hues of dawn paint the sky. And for a brief moment, tranquility surrounds you. You take a deep breath, embracing the stillness. But then, a thought creeps in. Am I enough? Will others recognize my worth? In an instant, that peace fades, replaced by unease and self-doubt. We've become so conditioned to seeking validation that our minds are trapped in the endless cycle of external approval. Recognition is something we've craved since childhood. From the applause when we first learned to walk to the praise for high grades and the admiration we seek in our careers and lives. We've learned to measure our worth through the reactions of those around us. But have you ever paused to wonder, if no one ever witnessed my achievements, would they still hold value? If no one applauded, would I still strive as hard? Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." It's a paradox, loving ourselves more than anyone else, yet placing the opinions of others above our own. Why can a passing glance, a careless critique, or even the silence of those around us make us question ourselves? It's because we've handed over the keys to our self-worth, allowing every compliment to act as a fleeting high and every criticism to cut deep into our self-esteem. The thirst for validation is an unquenchable one. A compliment brings momentary joy, but soon after comes the worry. Can I maintain this approval? If I fail, will they still respect me? We become slaves to praise, no different from addicts chasing their next fix. And like any addiction, it never offers lasting satisfaction. Try a simple challenge. Do something that no one knows about. Write a poem without sharing it online. Help someone without telling a soul. Achieve something without waiting for applause. How does that feel? If you find peace, that's a sign of true independence of thought. But if you feel empty, perhaps it's time to ask yourself, what am I really living for? To find inner peace, you must first learn to stand firm amid both praise and criticism. Not everyone will understand you, and they don't have to. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, as for others whose lives are not so ordered, he reminds himself constantly of the characters they exhibit daily and nightly, at home and abroad, and of the sort of society they frequent. The approval of such men, who do not even stand well in their own eyes, has no value for him. The very people who pass judgment on you may not even understand themselves. So why should their recognition dictate your worth? The world is ever-changing, and so are people's opinions. Today they might praise you, tomorrow they might forget you. If your self-worth depends on that, are you truly in control? Your mind isn't an empty cup waiting to be filled with praise. It's a steadfast mountain, unshaken by the winds of public opinion. When you release the constant need for validation, you not only free your mind from anxiety, but also discover a profound strength, the power of inner freedom. This is when you do the right thing, not for acknowledgement, but because you know it's worth doing. True peace doesn't come from applause, but from self-understanding. Ask yourself, if no one praises me, if no one witnesses my success, would I still feel satisfied? If your answer is yes, you've found true freedom. If not, perhaps it's time to turn inward and listen to yourself rather than the noise of the world. Do you agree with this perspective? If yes, comment, "I am enough," to affirm that your worth doesn't depend on others' recognition. If not, share your thoughts or story in the comments. Let's have a meaningful discussion together. Number 7, embrace peace through acceptance. As the seasons shift, trees release their leaves without resistance. They do not cling to what must go, nor do they resent the wind for carrying them away. Instead, they trust in the rhythm of nature, knowing that after winter's stillness, new growth will emerge in the warmth of spring. Human life mirrors this rhythm. We cannot escape loss, failure, or unexpected turns. But instead of resisting or lamenting, true peace comes when we accept what cannot be changed. Like the tree letting go of its leaves to prepare for a fresh start, we too can find serenity by releasing what no longer belongs to us. Epictetus once said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This doesn't mean giving up on effort, but rather focusing your energy on what you can truly control: your thoughts, actions, and reactions. The rest, other people's behavior, the weather, unforeseen events, let them unfold as they will. When you accept this, your mind lightens, and peace naturally follows. We cannot control how others treat us or prevent unexpected failures, but we can fully control how we respond to these challenges. Acceptance isn't about surrender or resignation. It's about maturity and understanding that life is inherently imperfect. When you embrace this, you no longer waste energy fighting meaningless battles. Instead, you discover tranquility. Take a simple example. A close friend suddenly grows distant. Instead of spending hours analyzing why or desperately trying to salvage a fading bond, you can choose to accept that everything changes. People, emotions, and circumstances are never static. When you realize that someone else's changes aren't a reflection of your failure, you'll feel lighter and make room for new, more fulfilling connections. Seneca once wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. Life guides those who accept it and drags those who resist." When you fight against life's flow, you only exhaust yourself. But when you move with the current, not out of resignation, but with mindfulness, you'll find that you can swim in your own way, no longer swept away by life's storms. However, acceptance doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or values. It's about balancing action with letting go. You give your best to what you can control, but you don't let yourself fall into despair when outcomes don't meet expectations. For instance, you might prepare thoroughly for a job interview, but the final result depends on many factors beyond your control. If you don't succeed, instead of blaming yourself or sinking into disappointment, accept the result as part of your journey and keep moving forward. You might wonder, how do I practice acceptance in daily life? A simple yet effective approach is to ask yourself in challenging situations, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, let it go and continue living. Practicing this daily will gradually help you cultivate calmness and clarity in any situation. In the end, remember that peace doesn't come from a life free of difficulties, but from how you face them. When you learn to accept what can't be changed and focus on what you can control, your mind becomes clearer, and peace will naturally find you. Just as the sun always shines behind the clouds, peace is always there, waiting for you to discover it through the power of acceptance. Are you ready to let go and find peace within your mind? You already have the answer. We've just explored 7 powerful methods to clear your mind and rediscover inner peace. From letting go of unrealistic expectations and facing imagined fears to finding calm through acceptance, each approach opens a door to a more serene and centered life. Life will always present its share of challenges and uncertainties. But when you realize that peace doesn't come from controlling the world around you, but from mastering your own reactions, the journey becomes lighter and more fulfilling. Remember, everything starts from within you. If this video brought you value, take a moment to hit that like button. It's a simple way to show your support. Of the 7 methods we explored today, which one spoke to you the most? Is there a particular approach you're excited to try? Or perhaps you've already found peace in your own unique way? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. You never know whose life you might touch with your words. If someone you care about could benefit from these insights, don't hesitate to pass this video along. And remember to subscribe to the channel. There's so much more inspiring content coming your way. Your journey toward lasting peace is just beginning, and I'm honored to walk alongside you every step of the way. Let's grow together.